Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Sam and I'm a recently certified Notion consulting partner. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about how I passed the new Notion consulting partner program and how I became the first person to be certified by Notion in over a year. I'll be walking you through the application process, the 3 required modules, and my tips for passing the program. So here's everything you need to know about the new Notion Consulting Partner Program. And the first thing you'll notice is there's been a change in the name. We used to have the Notion Certified Consultant Program, and then Notion paused that for about a year, and now they've reintroduced this Notion Consulting Partner Program. I've been told by the team that the reason for the renewal in the program is, first of all, the certified part of that old name was confused online. Because if you had the essentials or the settings and sharings badge, you could claim to be certified by Notion. You might not be a certified Notion consultant. So now with the new name, they're hoping that people can go by Notion Consulting Partner, and it's nice and clear to everyone who's officially sort of certified in terms of being a consultant. Now you have to apply to the program and be accepted before you can start taking the 3 modules. So what does the application process look like? So Notion has a info page all about the consulting program, which I'll link to down below in this video description, and that has a link to the application process. There seems to be no prerequisites except from the fact that you need to have taken the essentials and setting the sharings badge before you can then apply for this new program. Now, when I spoke to the partner team and also from the information they've put on their website, it seems that Notion's interested in looking at mid and enterprise level businesses using Notion, but I don't think that's a hindrance to anyone wanting to apply who may be smaller in scale in their Notion practice. So on their official website, they say Notion certified experts range from boutique agencies and freelancers to global consulting firms and system integrators. For reference, I am a freelancer with about 1.5 years of experience. In my application, I linked to my website, sambird.co, which details a specific niche that I work with, which is agencies. And I have worked with probably about 50 different agencies to date, with my current client being a digital creative agency with a workforce of over 100 employees. Now, as of recording this video, Notion have also added a 3rd or a 4th badge to this part of the program, which they're calling the advanced badge. So if you are not interested in being a Notion consultant, but you still want to demonstrate your expertise in Notion, or you want to basically do a bit of training, you can take the first module, the theoretical module, and then by getting passed on that, you then get the advanced badge. So that's another part of the program that's something to be aware of. So what's some benefits of being a Notion consulting partner? The first and the biggest is probably that you get put onto Notion's official consultant directory that goes onto their website. And obviously Notion is getting a lot of traffic every single day. So that means you get some eyes on your consulting practice and it generates some leads nice and easily for you. I also know that Notion is trying to make the consulting directory a bit more of a focal point on their website, so it drives even more traffic. I also believe that Notion does send you leads that sort of match your consulting practice. So overall, it's a great lead generation tool. I have heard that Notion is actually taking part of the commission from leads that are driven from their directory. I've yet to be put onto the directory yet, so I can't confirm that, but that is something to be aware of. A second benefit is you get access to Notion's Partner Academy, as well as the Notion Partner Community. So in the community, you're able to chat with all of the other consultants on the program, learn from each other's experiences, field any questions you have for the program. And the Academy, you get access to a few more teachings and trainings that Notion might be launching specifically for consultants. You will also receive the Notion Partner Badge, which you can put on your website and on your socials, and that's allowing your customers and your peers to be able to see that you have been certified by Notion. Notion also gives you access to the enterprise plan on your Notion account, which means you can not have to pay for the enterprise plan and have access to it and all of its different features. And finally, you tend to get early access to any beta features that they may be launching, get to hear about it, and all the inside gossip for anything that's new with Notion. So once you're accepted onto the program, there are 3 modules you're required to take. That's the theoretical module, the practical exam, and the interview with the Notion partner team. And so I'll dive into that next. So the first module, the theoretical test or the theory test, and this is what Notion says on the program page. So the objective of this exam is to test your knowledge of advanced features, workflows, processes, and use cases that can be used or built using Notion. My takeaway from this is this was definitely the easiest part of the module. You would have, if you're taking this program, done the essentials and settings and sharings badge for Notion. So it's quite similar to that, but it is more advanced. And obviously there's a focus on how Notion can be used for teams. Another tip I would also mention here at this point is there's quite a lot of focus on the enterprise plan and the business plans and SCIM and all that kind of thing. So definitely do a bit of research about that before taking the test. So some key features for this test, like the settings and sharings and the essentials badge, it's multiple choice. You need to score 80% or higher to pass the test. There is no time limit for the test, and you also do get 1 retake. And for these last 2 reasons, I would say that as long as you take your time, you're diligent, you should have no problem passing this test. The reason for that is that when you're first taking it, there's no time limit. So if you're unsure about any of the questions, you can go ahead and research or look them up. And then secondly, once you have done that first attempt, what Notion does is it will do the markings, and for the correct answers, it will show you it was correct. And then for any answers that were incorrect, it will show you that it was incorrect, but it won't show you what the correct answer was. So for example, if the question was, what is a Notion formula? And you put down A, it will show you A was incorrect, but it won't show you that C was the correct answer. And so what I did when I did this is I basically took a note of all of the correct answers and all of the incorrect answers, made sure that I put in the same answer for the correct answers. And then for the incorrect answers, I again went back online, checked my research, tested things in Notion to see if that was definitely how it worked, and then went back and redid my answers. That being said, when I first took the test, I think I got 75%. And then when I retook it based on doing all of that work, I then got 83%. So it is a difficult module. The questions are tricky, but I think, as long as you take your time, you're diligent, you should be fine. Module number 2, practical. So on the program, the actual test itself, Notion says the objective of this exam is to test your ability to apply advanced features, workflows, processes, and use cases using Notion. So what are some of the key features of this part of the program? Well, first of all, it's essentially a mock company or a mock client that you have been in contact with at the very early stages of sort of trying to land a client, and they're interested in using Notion and have some requirements, some pain points, and you have to create a demo workspace for them that is obviously trying to look at and answer some of their pain points. And then alongside that, you record up to 20 minutes of a video walkthrough, talking through this demo workspace and obviously talking about those pain points. Some other things you have there is you have some meeting notes with your meetings with some people from the team. So I think the CEO and someone else in the team. I won't say too much. Don't want to give everything away. So you have those meeting notes, those pain points, the proposal itself, and then obviously the task of creating that demo workspace and the video walkthrough. So what are my takeaways on this part of the program? Well, first of all, I expect this is what everyone's going to take the most time on because it requires you to build an entire workspace from scratch. And also the pain points and the requirements that are listed, there's a lot of them. And so obviously you're going to try and hit each one of them. And for that reason, you have to make sure that your workspace has all of these different features. It didn't take me too long. It took me about a day or two to do that. And that's because I basically took my template, Notion for Agencies. I'll link down below to it in the description if you want to take a look at what my sort of build somewhat looked like. Obviously, I adapted it, but I took that template and I adapted it to these list of pain points to try and speed up the process. So if you do have any sort of based templates that you might do if you're a consultant, you can definitely do that to sort of speed up this part of the program. The video walkthrough, my suggestion and tip for you would be to plan it out, write up a bit of a script. Also, know what examples you're going to reference in the workspace itself. Make sure you have some example data in there that sort of makes sense and is logical so you can talk about it. And then when you're recording it, I would just speak slowly, take your time, go through it. You've got 20 minutes, which is more than enough time to get through it. And then once you've finished that, obviously, if you need to retake it, you can retake it. If you want to edit anything down where you've paused or anything like that, you can go ahead and do it. So the third part of this module is an interview with one of the Notion partner team. I had mine with Jonathan Klein, and this is just a 30-minute call, essentially where they want to sit down and ask you some questions about your practice, your experience, and what you're looking to do in the future. Now, when I was taking the program, Notion actually had a fourth module that came before the practical exam, which was a portfolio submission. So you would go and take some screenshots of some clients' work and then send that off so Notion could sort of see your experience. Since I took the program, they've now decided to omit that part of the program. And the reason for that was that a lot of consultants had signed NDAs with their clients, which meant they couldn't go and take screenshots of their workspaces. The way I did it was basically every time I do a build, I do it in my own workspace and then I hand it over to the client. So I was just taking screenshots of the ones from my own workspace. So because of that, the interview focus, I think, has slightly shifted. So they also, as well as wanting to hear about your practice and that kind of thing, they want to hear about some examples of clients to make sure you do have experience. So you want to come into the call with 2 to 3 clients that you can talk about in detail, and maybe think about what were their pain points, what did you build for them, how did it help them. So here are some questions I was asked on the call. First one, what is my niche and what vertical do I serve? So again, I think Notion's trying to get an idea of who are the different types of consultants that will be in the program, and are they servicing a particular part of an industry? What is the size of that industry? So on and so forth. How big is my practice? Is it a one-man band? Is it an agency? Is it a fully fledged firm? So again, trying to get a sense of the scale of each of the consultants and what they look like. What services do I provide? So here I was referencing the fact that I do workspace builds. Sometimes I do a bit of migration, but I don't do a lot of automation. And he found that quite interesting. But yeah, think about what the services you provide. Do you specialize in some services that others might not? So do you do a lot of Notion training, things like that? And again, all of this is just adding to what your practice is and where do you sit within the consulting partner program. How much do I charge generally? And this was obviously up to my own discretion. He said if I'm comfortable with telling him this, so I did. But again, he's just trying to get a sense of my size. Do I offer automations? Again, trying to get a sense of the services you provide. Also, I think they want to know about how much Notion is being used alongside other third-party tools and how the API is being used, and if it is being used. What does delivery look like? Or how do I engage with clients from start to finish? So this was an interesting question. He was interested in knowing about what my entire sort of life cycle goes through in terms of landing the client, and then what our meetings look like, and then what my building process looks like. So if you have got sort of a bit of a standard process, think about that, maybe make a note of the chronology of that. But optionally, if you don't have sort of more of a standard process, I think that's fine. I think they're sort of trying to get a sense of, are people fulfilling these services over and over again, or is it a bit more project to project basis? And finally, where the consultants fit in the program and where they might want to go in the future. I spoke about the fact that at the moment I'm working with a client that's got 100 employees, and I'm considering now whether I want to go off in the sort of mid to enterprise level and work with really big companies, or if I want to do the opposite and actually go the other way and start working with some smaller clients again. So I spoke about the fact that I'm undecided on that, but that is something I'm consciously thinking about right now. So again, the interview was no longer than 30 minutes. I found that it was very conversational, very relaxed. Jonathan was really friendly on the call. So I don't think there's much to worry about as long as you have the experience, and based on the questions I've given you, prep a little bit about for these questions. And I think as long as you've done your prep, you should be absolutely fine. So I wish you the best of luck in your consulting journey. If you do want to hear a bit more about the program, I'll be joining Molly Jones for a webinar about the program, and I'll link to it down below as soon as that's ready. If you haven't yet gone into becoming a Notion consultant and you're interested, I do have a video all about how to become a Notion consultant with no experience. And if you found this video useful, please do consider giving it a like and subscribe to the channel for more. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.